Hey guys, welcome back to DMAC Customs on YouTube. Dave here, garage, Area 51, vinyl top. No, just kidding, this is my head lining. I'm going to attempt to do something I had never done before, and that's install a head lining in a chopped 51 pleat line. I'll be perfectly honest, I've never installed a head lining in anything, so let's get at it. I think I know what I'm doing. Haven't done a whole lot of research, a little bit here and there, but most of my sort of thinking on this has been from, getting the car ready to put the head lining in, so I've kind of got a bit of an idea of, I think, on how it's going to go. But I could be wrong. I know there's a lot of techniques in that involved, for getting it taut and tight and pulling in the right directions and stuff, and that's just going to be something I'm going to have to learn as we go along, I think. So let's get into it. Okay, so if you're new to the channel, this is my 1951 Chevrolet Fleet line that has been chopped 3 in the front, 4 in the back, and whatever it worked out to in the middle. Kind of custom rear quarters and rear arches and stuff. A little bit of custom touch with the headlight eyebrows and 56 Chev bezels, and the 55 rear bumper, and kind of custom roll pan type thing, and modified rear quarters down here. But this is the task of the day, is to try and figure out how to install this here headliner sort of thing. I just had it laid out on the roof for the last week, well, since last Sunday, just try and sort of flatten it out a bit. I was hoping to be able to put it out in the sun, but today we haven't got any sun and it's getting a bit windy, so if I put it outside it would probably blow away. So yeah, so looking at it, it looks like we should be, in the ballpark. This extended section here we might be alright with. I was a bit worried about, because the pillar, the post and shit gets moved, like when the roof gets chopped, all this kind of comes forward slightly and then the back gets laid out, so this area here comes forward, whereas normally on an unchopped car it would have landed like that. So we might be alright with that. If not, we'll figure something out, because that's what we do. But before I get going, I guess I'm going to have to get my headlight out of there. I might just drop it down onto the floor, because I think I'm going to need kind of a bit of light in here to hopefully be able to see what I'm doing. So let's get at it, I guess. First step is I need somewhere to lay this out, and so I can take the bows out and thread the bows into these little loopy things here. And if there's little markings on there, I don't know what they might be, just manufacturing markings, I'm not sure. But in last week's video we got those steel sort of tack strippy things made and got the windlace and that in here. So we've got this, all our windlace installed, and hopefully I did that all right and it's not going to give me problems on the headliner install. I've been kind of excited all week to do this, and then this morning I just kind of got a bit like, kind of dragging my heels a little bit coming down here, because I'm actually a little bit kind of nervous about screwing it up. Yeah, but we'll just have a go anyway. This headliner came with the car. Like when I bought this car, the guy had accumulated some new stuff to come with it. Like the rubber kit came with it, headliner, carpet, that nut and bolt kit that nut and bolts don't really seem to fit bugger all, to be honest. I'm hoping this headliner is gonna be different and play the game and help, hopefully we can get this installed without too much trouble. But yeah, I guess first up I gotta move the skirts out, and I'll pull these tack strips and that back out, because I'm gonna pull the bows one by one and thread them into the headliner, but I'll take that tack strip out and I'll put the headliner in place, and then I'll put that back in once the headliner's in the bows and kind of hanging off those before I start trying to tension it all up and things like that. So we'll be back in a sec. I'll just get that stuff all organised and then we'll get into it. Okay, so got my tack strips down and my dome light down. Something I noticed up here, the tack strip didn't want to kind of sit flush, and I just noticed this big hunk of like factory booger weld. I'm just going to kind of quickly knock that down, just so, you know, kind of got a little sort of fighting chance of hopefully getting this right. And I'm trying to decide what to do up here, whether I need to sort of, some of these are a bit bent. I think they might need kind of hooking more. These, especially these two center ones, I suspect when the headliner was kind of pulled down, it was maybe pulled down and these were kind of bent, so I might just kind of just curve them up a bit with some needle nose pliers or something, just so they're a bit more like that. I'm not sure whether they are supposed to be kind of wrapped around once you kind of get the liner kind of hanging. Really not sure, but we'll figure it out somehow. So yeah, I'll just quickly knock that down and then we'll get onto that. Okay, so got my headliner on my little makeshift table. Ideally I would have a full-size table that I could lay this on properly, or a bonnet of a car or something, but you know, a big bonnet. Looking at the back of it, the manufacturers of said headliner, some marks I saw earlier looked like they're actually just some kind of print, these diamond shapes, like sort of a brand. I thought it was some kind of markings, but you can see here they've run a center line right up the middle and they've numbered it strangely 1, 2. So I freaked out for a minute there when I saw down here it had gone up to 10, and I only have 9 bows, and I counted it from the outside and I counted 9. You know, counted from the outside of the headliner and it was 9. That many and that many. So, but I don't know why they've gone 1, 2, then 3, 4, 5. So there is 9. So this is the bow closest to the back windscreen. They've kind of numbered it opposite to how I numbered mine. Doesn't really matter as long as I don't muddle anything up. So I'm going to start with my number 9 and their number 1, 2, and I'll feed that through and then kind of work my way through them, and hopefully get all the bows all kind of set up, ready to go. So let's do it. Okay, so key thing, I guess, making sure I get this little hooked end, which is my driver's side. So the headliner's going up that way, this is my driver's side, so I need to get my hooked end at that end, so that'll be, when it goes into the car, it'll be like that. You know what I'm saying? So let's see if I can feed this through, how easy this is going to be. Too bad. Okay. The tricky part's going to be sort of centering it. Shouldn't be too bad. Should be right. It's actually sort of see-through. I wonder if I should put centre lines on the bows before, and then I'll be able to see through there. That might be a go. Okay. So I've just gone and put a little pen mark on the centre of the bows, all up in there before I sort of take them out, to give me my sort of rough centre, just to kind of help me sort of centre the bows up in the little pouches, and we'll kind of carry on, get them all laid in there, and then we'll get to the next step, so I'll bring you back for that. This is going to be a bit monotonous, so we'll see you in a wee bit. Okay, so knife out already. One thing I am doing is just getting into these little pockets. After I've done the first 3, I decided I would do this because I did see something online about this. Just slitting those open a little bit because the bows come kind of right to the end and I'm probably going to have to trim them back anyway. So I thought I'd get it started while I'm in here. Well, truth be told, I did watch one video about a guy putting a headliner in a 55 Chev, I think, and that's what he did, so I'll do it too. I wasn't going to do it initially. I thought I'll just see how all this lands, but as you can see, like these, I've already kind of butchered those ones back. The bows were kind of the full length of the bow pouch, if you know what I mean. So anyway, I'll just carry on, get these rest of them in there, and then see if we can hang this thing in the roof. Okay, so bows all in. Now that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Now this is the one, the little skinny one, if you remember correctly, that hooks into those little spikes there on that brace. Now this loop here, this padded loop, actually seems to be deeper, I guess, to allow for those hooks to poke through th under that bar, you know, so the hooks are going to poke through there and hold that up. So that my logic, as flawed as it can be sometimes, is telling me that's where I start on bow number 4, front to back, not back to front like the experts who made the headlining have done it. So this is already getting myself confused. So my logic says I need to kind of hang that first bow, or hang number 4 first. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and that way it's all kind of supported off of there, and then I can kind of come across and loop up, you know, from 3, 2, 1, and then 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's my thinking, and my thinking is also telling me now I probably need to take those bow clips out, as trying to kind of, I'm not going to have the same flexibility to kind of wiggle sideways that I did when they weren't in, if you know what I mean. I don't know if I filmed any kind of installing the bows, but I was leaning them over to hook them in this end up here and lean them over and slide them in and then stand it up. Whereas I think the idea with those clips, being that they are slotted, is that they are somewhat adjustable, so you can push them up to create more tension on it. As to at which point do you do that, I'm not 100% sure. I think you must do it obviously before you kind of tack strip it all in, so you must kind of get that kind of vertical tension dialed before you start doing the pulls out to the side. So I'm going to go and have a drink of water, because I'm already starting to heat up because of a little bit of anxiety and somewhat as to what I'm doing here, because it's all new, you know, and it's still humid, but it's windy as outside at the moment, so I don't really want to open the door because it'll get all blustery and stuff, you know. Anyway, I'm going to go and have a drink of water, and then we'll set about hanging that on those. Okay, so here we are. I've got it kind of lined up, so I can just kind of go like this. And grunt and puff. So I'm thinking I probably need to bend those little tangs over a bit before I do any of that. I just want to make sure the bow itself is centered, which it's not. My headliner is, but my bow's moved sideways. Choice. Alright, because there's my mark for my bow. So I've got to unhook it again and try and slide the bow sideways. Good stuff. I just do those 3 on the outside. Hopefully be able to pull that across. There we go. See my little mark moving there. Alright, so I need to get something to bend those hooks over, I reckon. Pliers maybe. Yeah, that's about right. Maybe a little hammer and a punch. There we go, that'll do. Okay, so that's those all hooked in, so in theory shouldn't be able to go anywhere now. And so now next step is to start figuring out how to hook these bows up. So I'll start, and I need to get a screwdriver handy. I'll do them one at a time, obviously. Figure out how to hook it into the hole at the other end and flip it up. Oh, yeah. Oh. Can I see my mark? Oh great, that screw's flogging out. I'm going to have to probably swap out these screws with the same sort of thing, like these. They're a bit beefier, I think, because that one's just chewed out and won't tighten up. Unless I move it up to the next hole, that might be a go. I'll try that. There's one. Okay. Oh, sore shoulders already. Yeah, so just doing a bit of a battery change. The old GoPro like just eats the batteries, man, the shitty ones that I've got left. So as you can see, we kind of got it kind of hanging. Once that kind of starts getting pulled over, you know, we'll get kind of more of a snugger fit, you know. But now I've got to get in the back and kind of rinse and repeat all the back bows. So pretty much just follow that process all the way through, I guess, until I've got all the bows hung, and then I'll bring his back, I guess. You don't really need to see that whole process, I guess, but you know, got something on the ceiling. How cool is that? Exciting, man, it's hard on the shoulders if you don't do this all day. Far out. What's up? Okay, so I've got one more bow to go, but I'll just sort of show you this. I've got 2 holes here. I don't know which was the hole that was used originally. Over here, again, we've got 2 holes drilled. So I'm gonna try the top hole just for, you know, a little bit of extra tension, being that some stuff may have changed. So we'll just get that done. Alright, so that's all the bows in. Check it out. How cool is that? These actually land kind of a little bit better than I thought they were, that little kick down. Seems to be more on this side than that side, strange. But actually, yeah, that side kind of keep wanting to fall that way initially until I guess we get this, you know, start pulling this back into our kind of tack strip and stapling it down. The video I watched where the guy nipped those little kind of tubey things that the bows go into, he also glued, like spray adhesive around all the inside of the car and around the edges of the headliner, and he explained why. And this is coming from an experienced headliner installer, not me, is that he was able to pull it, kind of tension it with the glue, and then he would go around and staple it at the end. I kind of didn't want to do that because I was was my stomach rumbling, kind of concerned about a kind of time crunch with the glue, you know, like if I put it in the wrong place, and you know, how quickly would it kind of completely cure to a point where I couldn't pull it back. And I know those guys pull and push and pull all their kind of upholstery and that all the time with you know, what Jim calls it, these things, glue and stuff. But yeah, they're kind of got way more, well, they've got experience. Any experience is more than what I've got. So yeah, so I might just have a little bit of a think about my life choices and what I'm gonna do next, because I'm not 100% sure. My logic tells me I need to pull the back first before I pull the front, because of the number 4 bow being hooked onto those little hooks. I don't want to be kind of pulling off that. I want to pull back against that to kind of really lock those hooks in place before I kind of pull anything forward from that, if that makes sense. Because if I start from the front, start pulling forward, I'm likely to, you know, even though I bent those tangs over, I could still pull that bow out of its slot, if you know what I mean, out of those little hooks. I shouldn't be able to, but you just never know. So I guess where's my center? There's the center. I think that hole's in the center. I'll need to check, but I guess I got to start kind of pulling it back that a ways. How far back is that gonna go? And then start stapling and pulling and pushing and stuff. But I'll have a little bit of kind of feel around and get my head around what I'm doing, and then we'll bring you back. But at this point, I like it. Like it's what's baggy and wrinkly and all that kind of stuff, but it's like looking like a headliner-ish. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so probably got the spooky underlit face on at the moment. It's probably a real good look, but I think I'm just about ready to kind of start stapling and stuff. I'm going to start in the center here and pull from the center, since we've got our center line, and work my way across the top of the window, maybe part way across, and then I'll have a little play around with how to sort of pull it down around the sides of the window and where it's got a attached to the tack strip at the back of the parcel tray as well. Stapling that's going to be tricky actually. I don't know whether I'll be able to get this stapler in there. I'll be able to maybe get to about there, but I'm going to come unstuck at the back there. Yeah, I'll figure it out somehow. That might be where glue might have been a good option. But yeah, I can get, it'll just be that last little corner. I can probably get into back there maybe, and see where it goes from there. I did think about opening up the garage door because I've been sweating like a sweaty thing in here, but it's, as you can see, the wind's starting to come up and it's been doing a little bit of raining and shit on and off, so don't know. The leaves blowing around outside. But yeah, I'm stalling at this point, so let's just get on with it. Okay, so that didn't really work. Can't really see. It's so awkward. Someone cut the roof down on this car. Okay, so probably as you've seen, it's, oh, I'm sweating like a sweater, man. It's mostly going okay. I guess this is that video I watched, you know, that I told you about. They used a steamer, which other than my wallpaper steamer, I haven't really got anything like that to kind of heat it up. And I don't want to use a heat gun because this stuff's kind of plasticky and I'm pretty sure it would just melt it, so that's where I think steam would be a bit more forgiving. But I think I'm going to be giving off enough steam in here before long, you know what I'm saying, that we should be alright. Down here there's actually a couple of little hooks, like little triangular tangs, like my tack strip to sort of hook into there. I haven't bent them over or anything yet, but I just wanted to kind of See, I'm just pulling all my staples out every time I get up there, so maybe this staple gun isn't quite punchy enough. It felt like it was. I've got another staple gun. It's actually smaller, but I don't know whether the staples that it takes, I haven't got any, so I'd have to go and buy some, whether the staples that it takes would be any kind of better for this situation. I might be better to actually see if I can get some longer staples so they go through the tack strip and get bent over and like get really jammed in there, because I noticed the OEM staples that are still left behind, the ones that I had pulled out, have been like curled over at the ends, so they kind of like get well and truly buried into the tack strip sort of thing, whereas the ones I'm using, if I kind of sort of miss, yeah, some of them are getting kind of kinked in that, but largely they are just sort of sitting in there sort of straight, and I'm relying on that sort of sideways tension to kind of hold them in there. But if I miss the tack strip or just catch the edge of it, they kind of want to do this, which is a bit of a pain. So that one's actually bent over, so I wonder if I can pull that a bit tighter and staple that again. So yeah, we might end up a trip down the shops to see if I can get a different sort of size staples. Need to she's kind of getting there. It's just not quite as tight through here as I'd like, but take the light away, she's mint. Okay, so I'm having some headway. I went down to the hardware store and bought we're looking for staples, came back with that, and that's supposed to be a heavy duty thing that makes a kind of wider staple, and I got longer like 8mm staples and 6mm staples, and just thought I'd try them. 8mm too long, they just bottom out and end up all bunched up and jammed up and stuff. The 6mm are better, but access with this is a bit tricky. Like I can't get in down here, because as soon as I pull that tight and try to staple down there, it just, the staple gun kind of hits that and away it goes. But I have a new plan for that. I'm not going to staple that kind of bottom edge. I'm going to screw it. We have this bit of a lip here, and I'm going to drill that and put Tech screws in it, as many as I can get, kind of a wide headed thing, and hopefully that will hold it. It's a bit not really very upholstery, unorthodox and whatnot, but I've got one holding that there. So yeah, it's working okay. Again, as I said earlier, not having a steamer to be able to kind of steam things and kind of put some heat into it kind of contributes to it being a little bit trickier. And yeah, my staples don't really kind of grab the way I would have hoped. I'm kind of hoping that once all the garnish mouldings and that go in, they will kind of help kind of hold the headliner in a roundabout way, if you know what I mean. So yeah, and the little foam bits I glued in the corners, kind of doesn't really want to staple into that well, unless I can really get two hands into it, push it right in and snap it, and then it kind of bites better. But then I've got to make sure I don't miss what I was aiming for when I do it. But yeah, so this is what where I'm at. It's kind of getting there, kind of. But yeah, you kind of staple one thing and then pull it another way, and it all puckers another way, which is where that gluing theory that, you know, well, not theory, the gluing practice that the dude on that video I watched talked about, you know, being able to pull it and glue, you know, move it, grab it back. But I'm already half a day into it and about 4 litres down on bodily fluids from water loss from sweating in here, and it smells. It smells like sweaty me, and yeah, so it's proven to be quite tricky. This back corner especially, I reckon. I mean, once I get around here, I don't know whether it's gonna be any easier, but there's the bar there, so it sort of feels like it's really should be coming that way. I'm wondering now whether I should be, before I go down the back glass, be pulling the sides before I go too much further, and hopefully not getting, you know, puckers and wrinkles and that in the side areas, if you know what I mean. Maybe I'll look into that and see where we're at. Definitely not as echoey in here anymore with all the sound deadening and the headliner coming in, so it's good. I forgot that I've got seatbelt bolts bolted in here, so I'm going to quickly take that out like that, and then I can there we go. Visibility is a real problem. Like, it's not, the light's terrible in here for trying to, so as soon as you get in your own shadow, I can't see where this is, so I keep misfiring and hitting the wrong things, so it's a bit of a pain. So before I go too much further, I want to pull the front and just see if it has any effect on the back. Oh yeah, so I'm making gains. I want to now, because this is where it's going to change with that other tack strip, which I should probably screw on before I go too much further, now that I've pulled that out again. So yeah, I need to screw those tack strips back on that I made. I should have done that before. I'm wondering whether I get the other side up to the same place as this. Still pull down there. That probably could go across a bit more. Yeah, so I need to screw those tack strips on, and then yeah, go from there. But I'll get the other side to the same place as this side, and then get those screwed back on. Yeah, okay. As you can see, I've drilled a bunch of holes up in that kind of little kick up lip there, right up to there, and I've got to keep them kind of quite low because the parcel tray is going to sit on here obviously, so you can't have, you know, the parcel tray is going to have to be thicker than those screw heads so you don't see them. You know what I mean, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, kind of getting there. There's a few areas like those clips that I made, they are poking through, but they're gonna be just fine, because just don't look up like that movie. Yeah, so I guess I took out some of the staples that were running down here because I needed this out the way, and I had to, you know, kind of change some stuff around and pull it different ways and stuff like that. But yes, I need to now get this back going down around the back window there. So if I can pull it that way, get a little bit of creasing in that going there. And if I pull it that way and then maybe de-staple that and pull it back, maybe take that screw out for a start. Okay, so just thought I'd step out for a minute and let the air clear a little bit. Like, it's just sweaty, and hot work in here today, boys. It's not a crazy high temperature, not like you get in other parts of the world. It's only, oh god, when I went out before it was only like 18 degrees Celsius outside, but it's windy and sunny and then rainy and humid and stuff, but in here the temperature is staying a pretty static kind of mid-20s, I think, and that's enough when it's humid to get sweating, especially when the anxiety stress levels come up. There's been a little bit of swearing, I have to admit, and we've got like a gazillion staples all over the floor of the Area 51 from all the misfires and stuff like that, but we kind of got the back into this sort of situation now. It's not like I haven't got rid of all the wrinkles. Again, that's where I think the steamer would probably come into it, and I mean I could start pulling things, but as you can see I've got about 50 staples in that corner just trying to hold it. The staples aren't holding all that well. I don't know if you can see, but there's a Tech screw on either side. It was the only way I could get it to hold. And then if you look up across the parcel tray there, that's what I was talking about with the screwing it to that little lip. And so I've done that on both sides, because I just couldn't get a stapler, or I even bought some little tacks like some of the, I'd seen in some of the stuff's tacked in, excuse me, with like little carpet tacks, little wee suckers like that, and yeah, couldn't get in there with a hammer or nothing. I don't know how they did it in the factory, but they probably did it in about 30 seconds flat and then moved on to the next one. But this has taken me, well, it's nearly 3 o'clock. I probably started about 8:30 this morning, and this is how far we've got. So I've screwed my little DIY tack strips up that I made last week. Now I'm kind of trying to pluck up the courage to start pulling forward and start, stapling in behind that tack strip there. And I also have to start kind of pull it sideways because we're kind of a bit bunched in the middle and whatnot. So so we've got a bit of work to do yet, and hand's getting a bit sore from stapling, and a bit of trouble with this hand anyway, again, old man stuff, but yeah, so we'll get into this. I'm not sure which the best angle to approach that thing. It might be the other side of the car. So, I'll just change the battery for you fellas and hopefully be able to film something. It's just really awkward to try and film and kind of show you what I'm trying to do when I don't really know what I'm doing, but it's getting there. Okay, so I think we're ready to go. There's my centre line there. I'm hoping my centre post is in the middle of my car. How tight should this be? I might have to go around the other side, maybe do it from the outside. Can I? Could I do that from the outside? Jeez, chop the cars. Who's a dumb idea with it? So, okay, so before I get too carried away, I've got to mark that hole there, roughly, and my main hole for my sun visors, right about there. So, didn't want to forget those, otherwise it might be a bit tricky fishing around looking for them later. On the whole, this is actually pulled up quite nice in here. I'm going to have to maybe unpick that a bit, because when I come to pull that and tuck it under, we're going to get a pucker over here. Sorry, I have to unpick this area here a little bit, and because when I pull that to tuck it, it's probably going to pucker in here, so I'll have to try and spread that pucker out. Don't worry about that. And yeah, so I hope for the best. I actually don't mind if the wrinkles were super even. I'd probably be quite happy, but because the back's a bit smoother than the front, well, that's what I have to do, is mark for the interior light. Yeah, that should be about right. As long as I can get the wire through, and then I can just poke around looking for the screw holes once we go to screw that back in. You know what I'm saying? God, it's hot. Yeah, so I guess I'll just take a couple of staples out of here now. The old fingernails are getting a bit of a hiding. Get those three out. That should get us into where we want to go roughly. Hang on, need two hands. That one's bent over, that's why. Because that's already well in there. One, you know. I'm going to need some scissors, and I brought home a couple of little plastic things that came in some window tint that I got for the shop that I thought might be useful to push the upholstery up and the inside up into the tack strip. Still don't know if this is going to work yet, lads, but we could just tack screw it and touch up the screw heads. Don't believe me? It could happen. Hey, how's it going? Found a little chink in my plan already with my tack strip. I think this actually needs to be kind of bent out more, because I thought I might be able to just kind of like push it up, but I think it needs to be bent out, and then you kind of like tuck it in and then knock it down on top of the headliner. Maybe that's how it works, because I got these two little plasticky things, and I just had a little bit of an experiment. I'll set you fellas over there and hope you can see what's going on. So if I, you know, pull that down and then try to push that up, I need to trim this. I was hoping that, you know, I don't want to trim it just yet. I was hoping that it would, you know, be able to push it past the spikes, I suppose. Yeah, kind of woodwork. Maybe if it was shorter. Where's my pencil? Maybe I'll do some trimmaging. But it does pull some of the wrinkles in that out if I can get it, you know, a bit tighter. Pulls kind of some of those cross wrinkles out. You know what I mean? But I've lost my pencil. Lose my head if it wasn't screwed on. I'll just find my pencil. It's pulled tight, and it's gonna end up folded about there. I probably only want about that much, I guess. Not sure what's going to happen here yet, but I'll give it a trim. Got some scissors here. yeah, I think I might need to bend that out, and then I can just kind of push it under and then hammer it into it. Make sense? Hopefully they go, yeah, they'll land in the tack strip too. Yeah, does make a lot more sense thinking about it like that. Gotta bend it all out now. I'm gonna do that. Okay, so just making a slight modification to my dead blow hammer, just to put a kind of clean bit of rag on there, just to kind of, so when I do have to hammer it back, I'm not got like a end like that on there, if you know what I mean. Got some tools here as well that I thought might help assist kind of to get that to go back. Might just nip those off while I'm using this. Put that over there. Oh yes, dog. Don't want to flatten off my little spikes, you see. Maybe I need a narrower screwdriver as well. Just pried all that kind of up for the most part, just using a screwdriver, just kind of like this, just to kind of pull it away from the windlace, so then I can pull it down and tuck it under, and then, you know, feed it up like that sort of thing. This is tricky to kind of get super tight though, that's the only thing that I'm kind of concerned about. So then it'd be kind of like that, and then I have to hammer that down. Does that sound about right? I don't know what I'm going to do there though. But I think we're kind of in the realm of what I'm supposed to be doing. I don't want to hammer it down just yet until I kind of got a better picture in my head of what's going to happen here. I wonder if I need to snip it. Trimming, if I get this wrong, if I go something like that. And then go so then I'm going to have to make a piece anyway that kind of comes up to this edge here, so I think we're alright. Those wrinkles. Man, this is harder than it looks. Here, for now, I'm just going to do that, and then that, and then bring that across to there. Just for now, because I'm going to end up making something, possibly some kind of little filler that goes in there. The garnish moulding comes across only so far. I need to double check that, to be honest, and you know, just confirm what I'm thinking is correct. So it's a little bit of a push and pull to get that in there. Might have to cut that piece out. That's going to hold it for now anyway. I've kind of got the through up to here kind of done, but it's kind of a bit meh, this front corner. But I think I need to take some staples out again in the front here and see if I can pull it and get it to where I want it to go. Yeah, I'll keep working at it. Okay, so I've got it all tucked in, but I've got wrinkles kind of where I didn't really want wrinkles, but in a few places. Yeah, I mean, I'm fighting my stapler, man. Like, you know, a bad tradesman blames his tools and all that kind of stuff. Well, this stapler is an absolute heap of shit. Whenever it gets down to only a short run of staples left, it won't fire upside down. It'll fire straight, but if you're up like that, it'll go, snap, but no staples come out until you've not got it up against something. So you can fire it like, work that time. But earlier when I was trying to sort of double staple up around the quarter windows, it was I was like going crack, and it would just not do anything, and go crack and not do anything, crack, and take it down, fire it, and it'd fire, and then go crack, and there'd be nothing there, and it just was absolutely doing my head in. That's why there's about 60 squillion staples all around inside the floor and all over the floor in the garage. All the things I've plucked out and whatnot. It's been frustrating, fellas. It's seriously been frustrating, but overall I'm pretty happy with it. Like, I know, if it was a professional job, you'd probably be going, hey, there's wrinkles in the roof and stuff like that, and that would be fair if you'd paid someone $1,000 to install your headliner or whatever. But this cost me like $70 for a new stapler and a bunch of staples, and it was money poorly spent, I might add. I probably could have done just as well with my other stapler and that one over there, but they had like little skinny staples, and they didn't have staples to fit that at the hardware shop, so that's why I bought another stapler. And I've got one sitting over there. It was in my father-in-law's tools, and they didn't have staples to fit that either, and that's quite a punchy little thing, but it's got a narrower staple, and these are all like 10 mil. These are like 10 mil. That thing there's 11 mil, and that thing there's about 9 mil. So I don't know, I thought staples were pretty universal, but yeah, so I just gotta trim up around the windscreen and sort of fold it back on itself and give it another round of stapling, just doubled up. Not really overly thrilled with what I've got going on up here, but I'm gonna wait and see what happens when I put that garnish molding in. I'm not sure how much that will hide my sins, or whether I'll need to figure something else out or just live with it. Which could be the way. Also, when this the sun visors bolt up, screw in and whatnot, it's going to pull it in a bit different as well, so I'm not 100% sure what will happen there. I've still got to put my dome light in and whatnot, but down the back glass, I could possibly unstaple it and try and pull it that way, but I think I'll end up with wrinkles somewhere else again. I'm kind of quite sure that this is why you need that steamer, to just kind of like soften it and get it to heat and shrink and things like that. It may even out or get, it might flatten out over time, I don't really know, or it might get wrinklier over time. I don't really know. All these staples all might let go, and then I'll have a headliner that just falls out, and yeah, that'll be a battle for another day if that's the case. But I'm going to go around and sort of trim up around the edges, around the windows and the windscreen and stuff, and you can see on the quarter windows I've just kind of trimmed it back and then doubled it up and stapled it up again, just to have another kind of extra thing going on there, I guess. And same there. So once the garnish moulding's on here, it'll kind of cover up some of my ugliness, I hope. But yeah, like I said, overall I'm quite happy that there's a, you know, for the most part, if you just look in the middle there, it's all good. But it's where it's really visible that it's not so good. Yeah, this was tricky to figure. Like this side here, I started and carried on down that way, and I got a weird bunchy up thing at the A pillar. And so this time I kind of started feeding it up, and you'd kind of feed it up, and then it would get snagged on my little hooks, and then I was in for a world of hurt because it wouldn't come back out. So I just kind of, you know, you'd kind of get it tight, and then you'd carry on, and then it would pucker up somewhere else. But learning experience, that's for sure. So yeah, oh well, I'll get trimming and get this thing finished up. Trimmed up the front and rear front and rear windscreens. Ended up kind of trying to restaple that back corner, but it didn't really work, and then my tack strip started falling apart, so I think it's going to leave well enough alone. Got my seatbelt anchor bolts sort of started. I'm just gonna put this dome light back in. I made a little slit in there and it went whoosh, and I just about near shit myself because I thought I had made a massive cut in the wrong place, but they're all right, I think. So I put a plug on here for this very reason. Just gotta remember how it works. That can tuck up on in there somehow. Sure it fit before. I probably had access to pull something down, but I'm gonna move my little screws so I don't lose them. I'll put them up for you fellas. There's the switch. Now the tricky part's going to be finding God, this is awkward. Right, suppose I better go and check that that actually still works. I'll put the battery up and have a look at the light on the ground there. Yeah boy, she works, that's good. It's all in there now. Like I said, I'm not, you know, it's got wrinkles, but it's not bad for my first ever headlining, I think. Although, yeah, it could have been better with a bit more knowledge and experience. You know, probably could have got these out. Probably done a bit more, there's the rain back, a bit more kind of research, and maybe kind of did new tack strip stuff, because I mean, my tack strips sort of fought me a little bit. My, where's that other pile of shit? This thing here, you know, it looks the business. It's got this thing here that I have no idea what that does. All that, I thought that might be giving me problems, but yeah, it's got plus and minus, and it's got this button here, and that does things, and I think that's something to do with thinner or thicker staples. And yeah, on the whole, heap of shit. Boo. You know, that old saying, you know, bad tradesman blames his tools, and that. I'm not a tradesman stapler, and so I can blame that stapler for 90% of my woes today, because, you know, it took thicker staples, which was what I was kind of after, and got there with it in the end. So look at that, dropped it on the floor, and this thing fell out of it. But yeah, that just did such weird things that probably about 50% of the trigger pulls either amounted to nothing or got jammed in the end of it, like bunched up. At one stage I couldn't even get these 6mm staples to even fire. Don't know why. It just wouldn't work for about 10 minutes, and then managed to get it working again-ish 50% of the time. But yeah, the longer 8mm staples, they were just too long. Most of them would just kind of bottom out, and I was hoping they would bottom out and hook round, but they just bottomed out and folded themselves over and got jammed in the end of the thing. You know, it just didn't work the way I would have liked it to have worked. But lesson learned, I guess. Next time I do a headliner, don't want to do one of these again in a hurry. You know, probably look for a proper upholstery stapler, a pneumatic one, you know, one that's just got like a light trigger pull that you don't have to, you know, get the old RSI kicking in to deal with it, sort of thing. You know, because the hand's a bit sore today now after all of that sort of stuff. It's been a bit sore anyway, as I said earlier. Managed to make a huge mess. Got just about every tool known to bloody DMAC Customs in here. But yeah, it's done. Headliner in. Little wrinkly, but it's in. Maybe you know, if I can get a steamer or something, maybe I could kind of steam it and maybe kind of smooth it out a bit. I don't really know. I could try my wallpaper steamer, but not today because it's getting late in the day and I stank, man. Like I stank. Like it's stuck in this small space, like sweating and smelling myself has just been adding to the trauma of doing my first headliner. I don't know, honestly, I don't know how. Like I'm 6'3" and there's not a lot of room when you get yourself in there to be trying to work over your head and stuff. In some respects it probably would have been easier without a rear glass in, but in other respects no, like it could have created problems putting the glass in, which is what worries me about the front. That might be an issue, you know, it might get in the way as I'm trying to pull the rope off the pinch weld and stuff like that. I'll probably have to get some better kind of nylon cord, something a bit slippier. A lot of people use detergents and stuff to help them come off. I can't remember who it was commented, one of you regular fellas commented about a little trick about using super glue on the edge of the glass and then kind of rubbing it back or something. I'll have to reread the comment and sort of refresh my memory before I sort of try and attempt that, because it did sound logical. It worked with my logic, so anyway, so yeah, that's it all done. It looks even better when you do that. See, now without that glowing up the ways, it's mint. Except for that bit there, don't, yeah, it's mint. Like it's about as perfect as it can be. Like except for that bit there. Yeah, interior light looks bling, looks like it's supposed to be there. So that's it done. So yeah, another little project ticked off the list. Hopefully it doesn't fall down, and hopefully I want to kind of really get those garnish mouldings on there now just to help kind of hold it in place. Overall, kind of happy with how that did work. It was a bit of a gamble, like not 100% knowing how that tack strip was gonna work, but ultimately it sort of has how I thought it had, as long as it holds on to the headliner and doesn't just let it go. So that was a kind of win, I reckon. Overall, there's my knees. It looks good without a big light shining up the ways in there, you know, in the dark. I could even turn the garage lights off and it would look even better. But, so that's done. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, my glass is cut. So tomorrow I've got to do a little bit of a road trip down the line, a couple of hours each way, and meet up with Dan the Glassman. He's going to an event down at Lake Taupo, so provided we don't have any more road closures and stuff, I'll shoot down there and pick up my glass again. And then whether we aim for that in the next video, I don't know. I might try and find something a little easier to do than wrestle with that. I don't know, maybe I'll think about it. Think about it, and see how we go. But yeah, that'll be exciting. I can't wait to get this thing glassed in, and then I can do the front garnish molding for the inside. That's got to be cut down and welded and finished and painted. The back one's got to just be painted. The doors and quarters garnish moldings, they've just got to be prepped and painted. Still haven't decided whether to do the tealy colour or do the cream that's on the dash. It might be nice to do them in the cream just for a little point of difference, if you know what I'm saying. But yeah, the back one round the back window, that'll just be black because it's going on that black headliner. So also got to do got some extra material there to do the sun visors, so they're going to have to be refurbished with new stuff. So that's got new material, and give them all a good clean up, make sure they work. We've got 3 for some reason, so I'm not sure why. But yeah, that's neither here nor there at this point. Yeah, and then once we got all the kind of garnish mouldings and the centre console painted, I've got to do seat belts. That's right, still got a little bit of work to do there. I need to spend some money, buy some seat belts, and need some more doubler plates. I've got to work out what I need, and yeah, get that stuff underway. But yeah, making gains. Sometimes it's a bit of pain. Yeah, creaky joints, you know. Alright guys, that's where we're going to leave this video. If you haven't subscribed, get future updates on this project. It's coming together. It's come a long way. Still a lot to do, but we're getting there slowly. One, you know, it's that old joke, you know, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, but we're done for this week. So like, subscribe, hit the notifications bell if you want to get notified. Like, share, comment. Don't forget we're on Instagram, Facebook, dmatcustoms.com for your merch, not this. And yeah, that's it. Till next time, take it easy and peace.